Lift, right? Warm air rises up. And so let's show you where we are going to see the worst weather in your town. And we're going to start you off into Oklahoma City. As we roll through this afternoon, I should say, we will see the storms really start to crank as we head around that 4 or 5 o'clock hour. And notice the reflectivity with this one here. That's very heavy rainfall. We could get a little bit of hail out of these as well. Hail will be the biggest threat today. And Jim was just talking about how tornadoes, even supercells, those big rotating thunderstorms, will be a threat tomorrow. And by the way, those supercells put down large and intense tornadoes. Wichita Falls, here's a look at our forecast. And as we head into, again, the kind of that dinner time hour, snack time hour, when everyone starts saying, I'm hungry, when's dinner? And even into bath time hour, we'll see the storms. You head to bed and we will see another round coming through when you're sleeping, which of course is most dangerous. You're 2 times more likely to get killed by severe weather overnight. But that's when it's coming through. So make sure you have a way to be woken up. And here we go into Arkansas, Little Rock. We have a 5 on our Torcon. So you don't want to be like, oh, it's not a 7, it's a 5. We're okay. Wait till you see these storms blasting through as we head into Friday morning. Strong winds with these, but that's not the end of it. We get another line to come through at 5 p.m. And so this is going to be a powerful one. Unfortunately, on Friday night, a lot of people have plans, but keep this in mind. You might want to change your plans, adjust your plans as it all does blow through after that. So maybe just meet up a little bit later if you're doing that with some friends. Memphis, we also have that threat for severe weather coming through, and we'll time out more cities a little bit later in the show.
It's interesting too, even if you have a movie night planned for Friday night.
Over New Mexico, Texas, on into Kansas, into Oklahoma. This whole big trough is swinging eastbound, and this is the same trough that caused the problems in California. Now it's all going to be making its way east, kicking off storms today from Texas to Oklahoma, all the way into portions of the Ohio River Valley. And there's a threat for hail today. It could be 2 inches or greater. That's the size of a lime into that hatched area, which is anywhere from Oklahoma City down towards Abilene. And we will see lots of warm, moist, buoyant air pop into our forecast as we head into not only this afternoon, but into this evening. So it continues to stay unsettled for us. And that's going to be the story. Starting around 3 p.m., you see a few of those storms start to fire up. And then as we go through the evening, it just continues to build back into Texas. And look at that line. So we'll get a couple rounds going through Oklahoma. Notice it's at 2 a.m. all the way down to San Angelo, and then it all sweeps eastbound. For our Sunday morning, it's still cranking here into Texas and Arkansas, but then we get other factors that come into play in the afternoon and evening into Friday. Jim's going to talk about that momentarily. But first today, Oklahoma, you'll see those thunderstorms. Look at all this warm, moist air in the 80s for us. Tomorrow, it shifts east, and this is where we get that low-level jet to really push in and amplify the storms as we head into our tomorrow. And the authorities will say, listen, we know a big storm is coming. We will not go out and help you. That happens all the time. You hear it with hurricanes. I've had, I remember, they can't get you because they'll get hurt themselves, and so be aware. Just because you call for help doesn't mean they're going to come. So just watch what you're doing, what risks you're taking. Well, right now we are calling for help into Charlotte. We have ground stop until 7:45. Look at our visibility, down to 1/4 of a mile. If you ever wonder how far that is, just get on a treadmill. It'll take you a second to walk that, 1/4 of a mile. It's not very far. We do have planes still coming in. You can see everything's lining up and making its way in. But if you're trying now to take off to get into Charlotte, you will stay on the ground until 7:45, which isn't that much longer. The reason? The fog. That really slowed things down for these pilots. They have to separate a little bit more when they're coming in due to the visibility or lack thereof. We have showers and snow streaming across the Great Lakes. This shouldn't cause too many problems for us. Kind of here and there type of issues, not a huge, big, widespread problem. But Jim, as we go into tonight, maybe some bigger problems when we see these storms really develop.
Yeah.
Back into America's Morning headquarters. Our virtual view technology helps me transport you to St. Louis at Keener Plaza Park. We can see, the arch right behind us here. Not going to be a great view, great day to go in the arch because we could see rain. Could be heavy at times here. And yeah, a little bit on the blinding side, and could form puddles on the ground if you're doing any driving around. We do have a flood watch goes into effect at 7 p.m. Now St. Louis is about 1/4 of an inch below average for rainfall, but don't let that fool you. A lot of places where we'll see this rain, we already have saturated grounds. We certainly are not in a drought, but we have saturated grounds anywhere from West Virginia all the way back into Oklahoma. These flood watches keep expanding. And one of the reasons is that we are going to see our storm system last for a couple of days, at least Thursday and Friday. And by the way, even into Saturday in some spots as everything pulls off into the northeast. One of the culprits is this boundary. That's a point of lift in the atmosphere. So you have that warm, moist air, and that boundary forces everything up, squeezes everything out. And that means we are going to see rain. And notice how it's just lingering right over this area. That's where we'll see the biggest rainfall totals. And notice it goes through Saturday also. So we are going to see abundant rainfall. There is the potential for flash flooding. This lets us know there's could be excessive rainfall. And at times, you know, you can always get the 1 inch an hour, 2 inch an hour out of one of these big thunderstorms. And that is a problem. But the bigger problem is, notice, for our Thursday, for our Friday, as we head into our Saturday, it is still raining over these same areas. That's the problem. So we'll watch that as we head through the beginning of the weekend. But even through Saturday morning, you could still see that flash flooding for us here. Now, speaking of flash flooding, there's been a lot of that in California, Jordan.
Oh, yeah.